So if you remember, not that long ago, we talked about a woman named Sarah Beth who got shamed by Katy Perry for daring to have 3 children by the age of 25 in 2023 America. That's a bad thing.
Was this like Katy Perry's attempt to repair her image in the eyes of liberals after she did her thing where she moved to Kentucky? Her exodus from Hollywood was reported on. She has this kid with her husband. She votes for Rick Caruso.
That
people
upset
think
them.
of her as this like, she goes trad, she starts voting Republican, and she chooses to essentially put down a young mom to repair her image in the opposite direction. Is that what it is? But otherwise, it's just Katy Perry being a massive hypocrite.
Yeah, she's just being a dick.
It's not just being a dick, it's just you're literally doing the same thing that you're criticizing her for doing. You pointed out before we started the show that she did it in the, quote, right way, where, Hollywood thinks you have to make your money, have this huge career, then you're free to start a family.
With whatever eggs you have left.
With whatever dried up eggs you have left while you're like 38 years old. Sorry to say, it's possible to reproduce at that age, but like, they need to stop lying to people that it's easy. It's not. And then they do IVF, and that's the acceptable way to have children.
They can afford the IVF. The average person can't afford the IVF.
And then they also have to simultaneously apologize for reproducing because it's so bad for the environment. You cannot have more than 2 kids. That's absolutely off the table. And you have to qualify it every time that you do talk about being a mom with, not everyone has to do this. Yeah. You don't have to feel like you have to do this. When in reality, like, moms out there, like ordinary people who have children, are probably just like desperate to get some validation that what they're doing is worthwhile in some way. Because all the rest of the time, Hollywood is telling them that they're worthless.
The kids are hopefully all the validation that they need, the love for the kids.
But people do need validation that they're not doing something wrong if they're constantly being shit on, But at the same time, I still go down rabbit holes of comment sections in TikToks and Instagram posts and reels about people saying like about how they get shamed for not having kids by their family, or they hate how like they come home for the holidays and their mom's like, why don't you have how
any?
dare your parents want to have progeny? Like, how dare they want their genetic line to continue?
I will admit that when my brother had kids, I felt a large weight off my shoulders because my mom finally while she was still alive, got to have grandkids. That was but it's not like I was ever like, it's not, they're not pressuring me the same way they pressure women.
I think there's a normal amount of pressure, and if you don't feel it, then maybe like there's something wrong with you. Like, if you don't feel some like urge to reproduce the human race, maybe you're the problem. But also, like, if someone has already made their decisions, this woman is 25, she has 3 kids, she's married,
she's chosen to leave.
She's made her decision that this is the path of life that she wants.
Yep.
Why are you going to go back on it now and like tell her that she made the wrong decision? It's too late, even if she did decide you were right. Even if she decided that she should have been a singer all along and pursued her career, what is she supposed to do about it now?
The hilarious like movie is like she gives the kids up for adoption, and it becomes like a weird thing where then she like finds her way back to the kids.
Yeah, like what's the solution,
like,
Katy Perry?
Is that what she thinks is going to happen? She's going to be like, I'll leave them with their dad. No, actually, I guess the movie version would be she leaves the kids with their dad. And like just abandons them because Katy Perry said to her, you need to go have a career. Get your bag, queen.
Like, unless you're in your late 30s or early 40s, don't even think about having children. And if you do, have less than 2 or 3. And also send them off to be raised by nannies while you're out girl bossing and judging singing shows. Like,
I think a lot of people who do try to wait that long end up regretting not doing it soon. But there was also this like message push that you can have kids and be a mom and be a wife and still follow your dreams and your career. But there's nothing wrong with just being a mom.
They haven't pushed that message for. There's a couple of things that I take major issue with in society, at least from when I was a kid upwards, right? One was that my whole generation was taught that women could be whatever they wanted. If they want to be a CEO, they can be a CEO. And I always thought, young Brett said, yeah, that's great. We should be pushing that message because women aren't required to stay home at the house. They never told the men of that generation what that's supposed to do to them. They never taught the men how to handle a world where women are now receiving a fundamentally different message about what they're supposed to do with their lives than the women before your generation were told, and what the men before your generation had to deal with. So you were left unarmed, and so then you get a generation of men where it's like, he's threatened by my strong career, because the guy doesn't know what to make of all of this. And I also take issue with the fact that they push that message on women without giving them any type of disclaimer that, no, you really can't always get what you want, or you really can't always have what you want. It's not really like we've pushed a utopian idea onto women, and I feel like society has protected them from that truth by pretending like that's true when men are more forcibly brought to the brutal reality of things at an earlier age.
Well, it's bizarre that Katy Perry, in what she said to this contestant, is denying the "you can have it all" lie.
Yeah.
She doesn't know she's doing it. She said if it's not your dream to be a singer, to pursue this, then you might need to leave because there are a lot of dreams behind you. She's talking about like other people competing. So, if it's just one of your dreams, that's simply not good enough. If singing is just one thing that you want to do in life, but you also want to be a mother, that's not good enough. You can't have it all. You can only choose one. So she's inherently here like admitting that this "you can have it all" thing was a myth all along.
And she left the show because of this. She's like, look, I'm gonna move on, and I'm gonna just take care of my kids.
Yeah. She just announced that she was quitting after like what? She was at the second round.
Yeah.
And she just said, well, okay. It was weird because Katy Perry tried to convince her to stay.
Yeah.
And that's even more bizarre.
Abandon your kids.
It's like once again, she's made her choice both to have kids and now to leave the competition, and you're still arguing with her about whether it's the right one. Like, it has nothing to do with you. It just feels like you're living vicariously through this woman who is younger than you, has more opportunity and time than you.
Well, also, when there is more drama on those shows, it sells. People watch it.
Absolutely.
But I think it's admirable for her to make the decision to be with her kids, because what's the alternative? Like, let daycare raise your kids?
Yeah.
Also, I love this lady. She's just so wholesome looking.
She is, and she's such a nice person. And while she's being put down by Katy Perry, is still like laughing and smiling, because it's like, that's what do you do socially in that situation when you're being like openly bullied by a celebrity that holds your future in their hands?
Like, look at this lady.
I like her glasses.
She's just a nice redheaded lady with glasses.
Maybe that's the other thing here is we're looking at more redhead.
Ginger
This is self-imposed ginger erasure that's going on right now by removing herself from Hollywood.
Well, also what's weird about it is that she was scouted to be on American Idol. She didn't enter herself.
Yeah.
They asked her to be there. She showed up, and then they're like they imagine inviting someone.
Don't want it?
Imagine inviting someone to your house for a dinner party, and you're like, "Is it your dream to be here? Because if it's not, then you might need to leave. Like, you're the one that invited them to be there."
Do you love appetizers? Because if you don't love appetizers, there's a whole list of people outside this house who love appetizers.
If you don't think that my food smells good, then maybe you should just get out. Like, you're the one that invited this person. So even more so, like, she wasn't pursuing this. They found her.
Somebody in the chat says they're not sure that that's a natural redhead. I don't know about that.
We need to find out directly from her.
We need to have her on the show.
I wonder what percentage of the contestants on that show are scouted versus audition.
Early on, it was probably all audition. Now they got to go looking for him.
Yeah,
like they're running out of people to have on these shows.
They're just sitting through the auditions like, this sucks.
Yeah. The voice was better anyways.
This is the sick thing that Katy Perry said. She said, "I know life is scary. I also know it's easier to walk away than to be rejected. But self-love is just as big as motherly love. Don't leave the competition."
Oh.
You've opened a door you thought you'd never open and got a yes, and you may get another yes in the future. Do not give up. she's framing this like the contestant
like she doesn't like herself.
Is insecure. When all she said is, I think, since my kids are so young and I've been away from them to do this, it's time for me to go home because they need me. And then Katy Perry's like, oh, so you hate yourself and you're afraid of rejection? Is that it? Like, it's so manipulative.
No, being selfless when it comes to raising children doesn't mean that you don't
love yourself.
Yeah.
Or you have some insecurity.
It just means you love your kids.
It means you care about your family.
Why would that be mutually exclusive?
That to Hollywood, that's a foreign concept.
Perhaps.
To them, that's a foreign concept. Also, it's time to get rid of self-love, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to re-embrace,
or at least whatever this is masquerading as self-love.
It's narcissism.
It's just narcissism.
Yeah, there's a difference between taking care of yourself and being healthy and like accepting yourself as you are and narcissism.
And they're not the same thing. Self-love is not the same thing as motherly love at all.
No, it's not. I mean, she said it's as big as self-love is as big as motherly love, but it's like, if your definition of self-love is being away from your children for long periods of time to pursue some nebulous idea of a pop career, well, what does that mean for your kids? It's not.
Well, I imagine if you're a mother who is missing her kids and feeling like they're missing out on you being there, that can't feel good for you either.
Yeah. And if you don't feel that, then
imagine you're like the kid's like, Mom, when are you coming home? She's like, sorry, honey, but I'm focusing on me right now.
I got dreams.
Her 3-year-old is just like, all the 3-year-old knows is that mom's not there. Exactly. They don't know what's going on. So that makes it even worse. It would be one thing if her kids were like old enough to understand why she was gone, but they don't even know why she's gone. So it's just really sick that she would even
that can be very traumatic for young kids. Like, I remember when I was little and my mom, she was out of the picture when I was little. I didn't understand why. It was just devastating that she wasn't there.
Also, aren't there whole tropes of stories where you get mad at the dad for working too much? Like, isn't that a bad thing to these people? Where it's like, Daddy was never home to tuck me in at night, and Mommy had to raise me. Like, why are we just trying to
men
make
do can be good enough.
People? Why are they just trying to make women into like even whinier men? Okay,
right.
Men whine too, except for when they have the flu. But all the rest of the time, it's just men go to work and work long hours to provide for their family. They want the woman to go to work for long hours to be a girl boss, not because she has a family to provide for, but because it's a form of self-love.
So she addressed Katy Perry's comments to her online. She said, there was a joke that was made that's gotten some attention, and I've gotten people reaching out to me asking how I felt. At the start of my audition, before I sang, I mentioned I have 3 children and was a young mother, and Katy Perry made a joke that wasn't super kind. It was embarrassing to have that on TV and hurtful, and that's that. But I did want to take this opportunity to just say that I think women supporting and uplifting other women is so cool. And I think that mom shaming is lame, and I think it's hard enough to be a mom. It's hard enough to be a woman.
I'm fine with the second comment. The first comment was dorky, and I hate the women supporting women lie.
Do you guys know
the thing is, Katy Perry thinks that she's doing the women supporting women thing, but in reality, she's just putting her down.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember what the first comment she's saying was embarrassing? Is this the comment?
No, I'm saying the part I disagree with there is I dislike the Hollywood idea, or the idea of like women supporting women, which is one of the most over the top lies most of the time.
We'll get into that in the next topic, actually.
But in this, basically, Katy Perry said, like, the original comment was basically like, you've spent enough time on your back because she's got 3 kids, which is just crude. Or
no, she said, like, honey, you've been laying on the table too much.
Yeah. Well,
meaning like giving birth too much or something. Which is a bizarre form of slut shaming if you really think about it.
That's weird. Yeah, I don't like the notion that you should have like a limited amount of kids either. Like, if you want to have a big family, have a big family.
Mm-hmm.
Katy Perry's like, I support China's one-child policy.
I mean, you might as well just come out and say it, right? Yeah. Like, I think, shaming people for how many kids they have. If they're neglectful of their kids, then that's the problem. Not that they're having many kids.
Right.
You know, shaming people for having more than whatever amount of kids you think is too much is just a form of what they would call like slut shaming. It's literally like that. And what's the solution? What is she supposed to do? Go back in time?
Yes, apparently.
Like, she can't do anything about it now, even if she did regret having children. So
Yeah.
you're just being an a-hole.
Like, if you don't want to have kids, or you don't want to have many kids, live your life. But other people should be able to make those decisions for themselves, and why criticize them?
And what was this? She like told the contestant that she should make songs about same-sex relationships.
Yeah, this was an old story where a contestant had Christian parents, and she like mocked the Christian parents and said that they should sing a song called like "I Kissed a Boy," and I liked it.
Was the contestant even gay or
No,
what?
it was just about the fact that the contestant was from a religious family, and that would be against their Christian faith to sing a song like that.
Cool.
Yeah, because it's Katy Perry.
You're so edgy, Katy Perry. She used to be a Christian singer.
Yeah.
She used to be a Christian music.
Isn't that how she
artist.
started out?
Yeah.
Yep.
So
And then she kind of took a different path and blew up.
right.
He says, my parents like to name all of us from the Bible, said McFarland, who went on to note that he raised in a pretty strict religiously adherent home, adding that his mom still bristles when his songs include curse words. Nevertheless, he said he does not plan to use harsh language in his music. So she's like, well, you don't need to use curse words to include stuff about same-sex relationships. Take that, you religious bigot. That's what they're thinking, because it's Hollywood and they're full of losers.
Yeah, they are.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.